Number 10. Mildred Pierce. During Amber's testimony, she begins speaking emotionally about the times that Johnny Depp allegedly hit her. At one point in her speech, Amber said that Johnny slapped her and then said, quote, he'd rather cut off his hand. That line in particular is directly out of the movie Mildred Pierce after she slaps another character named Vida. Many people believe that this was a line stolen directly from the 1945 film, a drama about a woman whose husband leaves her for another woman. In this film, there's a scene where Mildred, the mother of two daughters, slaps one of her daughter in the heat of the moment after the daughter is angry that Mildred degraded their social status by not remarrying. After she slaps her daughter, Mildred immediately apologizes and states, quote, I'm so sorry I did that, I'd rather cut off my hand. The lines are definitely similar, but honestly, I can see this one being kind of a stretch given how minuscule and off the cuff it was. Number 9. Notting Hill. Also during Amber's testimony, she spoke about the first time she had met Johnny Depp on the set of their movie. She also describes how the two would fall in love with each other. During this time, Johnny was sober, and to replace his habitual alcohol intake, he drank tea instead. Tons and tons of tea. If you're listening to the trial, the amount of times that she mentions how much he loves tea may have struck you as odd. Many on the internet pointed the similarity to the romantic comedy Notting Hill. It's similar to a line that Julia Roberts says to Hugh Grant about, quote, he drinks lots of tea. Others think the way that she seemed to mimic Julia Roberts in the tea scene may have been done so to make her appear more lovable and believable. Number 8. I am a killer. Also during her testimony, Amber spoke about how Johnny was around another woman and they were all under the influence of different substances at the time. Amber claims that the woman laid her head on Amber's shoulder and it, for some reason, set Johnny off. She went on to allege that Johnny then grabbed this woman's wrist, twisted it, and pulled her towards him. Amber then claims that he said, quote, do you know how many pounds of pressure it takes to break a human wrist? She goes on to say that Johnny held the woman and she was frozen in his grip. Many people have claimed that this line that she claims that he said is actually a line directly from the Netflix series I Am a Killer. The person in the scene says, quote, do you know how much it takes to break a human hand? The series in question documents the life of a woman with a life sentence in prison for taking the life of her husband in extremely brutal and gruesome ways after he broke her hands. Number 7. Shrek 2. Listen, I know this one is definitely most likely total crap, sue me. It's a bit on the satire side, but we all know Reddit. They would psychoanalyze a goldfish if they could. This moment in the trial was kind of similar to a moment in the DreamWorks movie Shrek 2. In the movie itself, Prince Charming is looking around a destroyed room and saying, whoa, what happened here? In a TikTok clip that was posted to Reddit, it quickly clips to Amber, who says the exact same thing in almost the exact same way that Prince Charming does. Listen, if you ask my opinion, there's no way she stole from Shrek 2, let's be real here. It is a little funny though. Number 6. True Detective. This moment is very similar to the one mentioned before where she seemed to quote the series I Am a Killer. It's in reference to the part in Amber's testimony where she begins telling the story of when Johnny Depp became aggressive while they were on a flight. Amber claimed that Johnny got into an altercation with a flight attendant, grabbed her wrist, slammed it down, and said something similar to both True Detective and I Am a Killer about how it only takes a few pounds of pressure to break her wrist. One Twitter user was very quick to point out the similarities between this testimony piece and a scene in the show True Detective. Particularly in season 1, when one character states a line extremely similar to the one in I Am a Killer and to Amber's allegations. While I tend to be critical and hesitant towards this whole debacle in general, I do think it's a little odd that if Johnny harmed a flight attendant, why hasn't she spoken out at all, or even stated anything as a witness? I mean, if he's slamming wrists, there's a whole flight of people to corroborate that kind of situation. Number 5. The article. This is something that wasn't stolen from a movie or a book, but it is something that people have pointed out as being blatantly untruthful and in direct contrast to statements that she's made previously in court. Amber claimed during her testimony that prior to her relationship with Johnny, she wasn't a fan of his nor a fan of his art. But fans of Johnny's found an article from years ago. Her claim was directly seen as false. In the article itself, Amber claimed that when she was a teenager, she had photos of Johnny all over her room. A friend of hers had told the Inquirer that Johnny was basically Amber's first love. Quote, when she was a teenager, Amber had already decided to become an actress, and she had pictures of Johnny all over her room. So it's no surprise they fell in love while working together. Amber usually gets what she sets her mind to. Creepy. Number 4. Alpha Dog. In our number 4 spot is the movie Alpha Dog. This one is more of a theory in relation to the trial rather than a direct movie quote, but it's definitely worth noting for a full scope of what is exactly going down. So we've all heard the story of the poo on the bed at this point. If you haven't, it's basically alleged that Amber had left feces on Johnny's bed. While she claims it was her dogs that did so, it's pretty apparent that it belonged to a human. There's a theory that this entire move was a scene from the film Alpha Dog, a movie that Amber herself was in. In the scene, one of the characters, who is under the influence, defecates on his enemy's rug in revenge. It's certainly extremely cinematic, if it is a movie reference. Number 3, Maid. Someone on Twitter pointed out a similarity in Amber's testimony to Maid, when Amber was detailing an alleged instance where Johnny Depp threw a glass at Amber, then punched a wall, and then punched a wall right next to Amber. According to the people who had seen the Netflix show, which is about a woman who is fleeing a horrible relationship to provide a better life for her children, it is said that this scene is actually word for word in the show. While it's definitely possible that real life can absolutely align with television, I think a lot of people are more suspicious than they normally would be given all the examples of Amber seemingly quoting things left, right, and center. Number 2, White Chicks. Next up is the comedy White Chicks. During Amber's first day of testimony, she told a horrifying story where she alleged that she had to call Johnny's sister to help remove him from their home. But as they were all driving in the car, Johnny allegedly started howling out the window, grabs Boo, his dog, a teacup Yorkie, and holds Boo out the window of the moving car. He's howling like an animal while holding their dog out of the car. But people seem to think that this scene was taken straight out of the comedy movie White Chicks. In the movie scene, a teacup Yorkie flies out of the window of a moving vehicle and is only being held onto by a leash. But there's also an Instagram photo that has since surfaced of Amber Heard letting the dog out of the car window. I honestly think this one's definitely a stretch, but you know, what do I know, I'm just some rando on the internet. Number 1, the talented Mr. Ripley. I saved this one for last because it seems to be the most credible moment of Amber actually referencing a movie. It is said during Amber Heard's opening statements when she seemed to directly quote the film wherein a man arrives, showers people with gifts, and then seemingly disappears. The quote people are referencing states, quote, "The thing with Dickie, it's like the sun shines on you and it's glorious, and then he forgets you and it's very, very cold. When you have his attention, you feel like you're the only person in the world. That's why everybody loves him so much." Now, Amber didn't directly say these words exactly, but she does say something eerily similar. When describing her attraction towards Johnny, she talks about how when he was with her, Johnny had a warm glow about him, showered her with gifts, and made her feel like the most beautiful woman in the world. They would be in this bubble for 4 to 5 days at a time before it would suddenly disappear and this monster would take its place.
And at number 10, the couple secretly dated. At this point, we all know that Amber and Johnny met during the making of their movie, The Rum Diary, but we did not know until now that the romance did not start until the movie was done filming and the pair were together once again during the press tour. The press tour began right after Heard was going through a separation from her former partner, and she called it, quote, "perfect timing." The press tour took place in 2011, and Heard said that being with him felt like magic. The pair were forced to keep their romance a secret because Depp split from his former partner, Vanessa Paradis, was not yet public. Depp and Paradis decided to keep the split private for the sake of their kids. Heard said, quote, "We were in a bubble of secrecy. They both had feelings for each other and were both recently out of relationships." And at number 9, he would belittle the way she dressed. Amber stated that their relationship was always very intense, but over time it escalated and became more violent, bringing up how he would make snide comments about how she dressed and degrade her. One time when she wore a low-cut dress to a charity event, Johnny said, quote, "You're gonna wear that, kid?" Adding, quote, "No wonder you're getting cast in those roles," insinuating that she was showing too much skin and it's getting her cast in sultry roles. She even recalled that he called other actresses, quote, "worthless whores." He made it sound dirty to be an actress, Heard said, and if he got really mad while speaking about it, he would, quote, "blow up and smash things," with Heard specifically saying that he loved to break furniture and glasses. And at number 8, Depp was generous with her family. When Heard was asked about Depp's relationship with her family, she said that it was great and both parties really liked each other. She recalled that Johnny was incredibly generous with her working class family, and her father liked Depp so much that he would, quote, "have married him if I didn't." Depp showered her entire family with gifts, paid for family trips, and all around made sure to appreciate her parents. It's unclear what the motive was for her to paint Johnny in such a positive light at that point in the trial, but I believe it was concocted this way to show how their amazing relationship turned sour as time went on. And at number 7, Depp cried the first time. Johnny Depp got down on his knees and sobbed after hitting Amber Heard for the first time, the actress testified. Apparently he got so angry that he slapped her and she was in shock. After it happened, Depp apologized profusely, even crying at one point. Apparently Depp cried and said, quote, "I will never do that again, I'm so sorry, baby, I thought I put the monster away." At that point, Heard knew she needed to leave him, but didn't want to. Continuing, quote, "I wish I could say I stood up and walked out of the house, but I didn't. I was heartbroken." A few days later, Depp told her that he would rather cut his hand off than lay it on her. Heard testified, adding that he was calling and texting her to apologize, and eventually she forgave him and took him back. But unfortunately, that was not the last time that she claims that he hit her. And at number 6, explain first time she was hit. During Heard's testimony, we got to hear her side on the very first time that she was hit by Johnny. She told the jury, quote, "I'll never forget it. It changed my life." Apparently they were together on the couch, drinking. Heard also testified that Depp was under the influence of harder illicit substances. Then Heard decided to ask him about a tattoo on his arm. He replied that it said, "Wino," prompting her to laugh, because she just didn't think it said that. But he allegedly did not find it funny and decided to slap her across the face. Heard testified, saying, quote, "I laughed because I didn't know what else to do. I thought this must be a joke." She said she didn't move from her place because she was so shocked. Continuing, quote, "Then he slapped me again one more time. Hard. I lost my balance on the edge of the couch, and I wish so much that he'd say he was joking." Depp also allegedly said, "You think you're funny?" And Depp hit her a third time. When talking about the aftermath, Heard said, quote, "I'm not dumb. I knew it was wrong and I knew that I had to leave him, and that's what broke my heart, because I didn't want to leave him." Depp denies this and claims Heard has an issue with the tattoo because it was done out of love for his ex-girlfriend, Winona Ryder. Halfway, number 5, spoke highly of the relationship. Heard's testimony painted the highs and lows of the relationship, and before getting into the bad times, Heard made the time to tell the jury about all the good times the couple had together. Amber Heard fought back tears as she told the jury about falling in love with Johnny Depp on the press tour for The Rum Diary in 2011, saying that being with him felt like magic, adding, quote, "I felt like this man knew me, saw me, in a way that nobody else had. When I was around Johnny, I felt like the most beautiful person in the world. It made me feel seen. It made me feel like $1 million. Clearly highlighting the relationship between the pair was not always toxic, and there were a lot of good times in the beginning. And at number 4, strange moment filming The Rum Diary. Heard told the jury about a strange moment that happened between the pair during the filming of their movie. At this time, both Heard and Depp had feelings for one another, but neither was acting on it because they were both still in relationships. At one point, the pair were talking and Heard was wearing a robe, completely naked underneath. Recalling, quote, "He kind of picked up the back of my robe with his boot and I kind of turned around and giggled. He kind of playfully pushed me down on his bed, sofa, playful and flirtatious, and he said, 'Yum,' and kind of lifted his eyebrows up like that." At the time, Heard remembered it being strange, but since she liked him, it didn't bother her. And at number 3, first time they met. Amber Heard told the jury about meeting Johnny Depp the first time while auditioning in 2008 for The Rum Diary, which she was starring in and producing. At the time, Heard was only 22 and a no-name actor, so it was intimidating to be in the room with him. Heard said she thought it was an audition, but it ended up being a meeting where the pair clicked, saying, quote, "We talked about books and music and poetry. We liked a lot of the same stuff. Obscure writers and interesting books and pieces of poetry I haven't heard anyone else know or reference or like." Heard claimed she was not a fan or familiar with his work, but she obviously knew who he was because he was one of the most famous people in the world. Depp told her personally when she got the role, calling her and saying, quote, "You're it, kid, you're the dream." In his testimony, Depp recalled that he and Heard were, quote, "perfect partners" when they first met. He loved that she knew about blues music and called her sweet and funny. And at number 2, Amber admits the trial is horrible. When Amber first took the stand, she pointed out to the jury that reliving all these memories has been hard, saying, quote, "This is horrible for me. I'm here because my ex-husband is suing me." Getting even more emotional, Heard continued, quote, "I struggled to find the words to describe how painful this is. This is horrible for me to sit here for weeks and relive everything," tearing up as she spoke. Quote, "This is the most painful and difficult thing I've ever gone through," she said to the jury. Amber broke down several times during her testimony, crying while recalling details of their relationship. And finally, at number 1, relationship was intense. In the beginning of their relationship, Amber and Johnny were on a high, very obsessed with one another, and feeling like they had met their soulmates. The relationship was so hot and heavy in the beginning. Amber admitted that Johnny hinted at marriage only days after meeting her. When describing how he treated her, she said it was, quote, "that kind of feeling where he had lavish gifts, lavish expressions of love, and how he'd never met a woman like me. At one point he even made a fake wedding ring for her. Quote, I remember he took the foil off of this bottle and put it on my ring finger, and I'd only been with him like days, maybe it was weeks at the time. It just felt very intense." This is very interesting considering Depp was with Vanessa Paradis, who he shares 2 kids with, for 14 years, but they never got married.
Coming in at number 10, Johnny Depp threw his phone at Amber, causing injury. This is definitely one of the biggest ones on the list. The initial case against Johnny that he harmed Amber physically exploded onto the internet back in 2016 after the former couple got divorced with irreconcilable differences cited as the reason. Although they had initially made a joint statement saying that the divorce was amicable, it very quickly got ugly when Amber filed a restraining order against her former lover. During the case against him, she alleges that Depp threw a cell phone at her during a fight, which struck her in the eye and the cheek, and that he claims he screamed at her, grabbed her face, and pulled her hair. She also submitted a photo of her face all bloodied and bruised. But documents later falsified this claim when LAPD officers who responded to the call during the time of the fight stated that they found no evidence of any crime having taken place. In the current defamation case, Heard's lawyers subpoenaed the LAPD, which basically means they called the cops to court. I guess during these current suits we'll see more of an elaboration on that fight, but as of now that's all we have. Number 9. They both claim that neither party has made false accusations for financial gain. In August 2016, after their divorce had been officially finalized and settled, the pair released another statement saying, quote, "Our relationship was intensely passionate and at times volatile, but always bound by love. Neither party has made false accusations for financial gain. There was never any intent of physical or emotional harm." Fast forward to now, the claims that neither party has made false accusations has been completely turned on its head. Not only that, but financial gain is at the forefront of these cases. Currently, Depp is suing Heard for $50 million, and she is countersuing for $100 million. I'd say that lines the pockets pretty well. Number 8. Amber donated $7 million to a children's hospital. After their divorce was finalized, Amber pledged that she would donate $7 million of the money that she got from Johnny to the American Civil Liberties Union and the Los Angeles Children's Hospital. In 2021, a New York judge partially granted a petition from Johnny to determine whether the donations had actually been made. What was found was that she did not in fact donate the money, but had planned to do so. Quote, "My client is still planning to donate one half of her total settlement to the ACLU and the other half to CHLA. And while it is undetermined what those payment schedules may be, she has already made the first payment toward the pledges. She fully intends to continue to give the full $7 million, but she can't do it yet. She will do it when she can. But she has given a significant amount to both." What's the holdup, Amber? Coming in at number 7, Amber Heard wrote her op-ed insinuating that Johnny hurt Amber's career. In the now famous Washington Post opinion piece that Amber Heard wrote that spawned the defamation case, Amber alleged that her divorce from Johnny Depp had practically blacklisted her from Hollywood. Quote, "A movie I was attached to recast my role. I had just shot a 2-year campaign as the face of a global fashion brand and the company dropped me. Questions arose as to whether I would be able to keep my role as Mira in the movies Justice League and Aquaman. In fact, Amber had barely lost any traction. She didn't get her name taken off of Justice League, and she's doing just fine filming for movies as we speak. But Johnny Depp got fired off of Fantastic Beasts, and he's barely been in anything these days." Although Amber cried victim herself, it is extremely apparent that that isn't really the case. Number 6. Amber told the court that Johnny had pushed Kate Moss down the stairs. This claim was basically instantly debunked and shut down by the court. Based on a kind of old rumor, Amber voiced unsubstantiated claims that Johnny Depp had pushed his former girlfriend, Kate Moss, down the stairs after she stood up for her sister during a fight. The lawyer defending Johnny said that she was basically making up accusations as she went along to try and paint him in the worst light possible. Number 5. Amber's sister lied to the court defending Amber herself. The 3rd week of the trial of Johnny Depp against The Sun, a magazine that published a piece calling him a wife harmer, Amber's sister was called to testify for The Sun. Then, the day after her testimony, when she claimed that Amber had never hurt her or harmed her in any way, a video was sent to Johnny's lawyers by an anonymous source which disproves that statement. Depp's lawyers claimed that the video demonstrated that the sister had lied and tailored her testimony to, quote, "meet her sister's evidence." The footage in question was a clip from a reality show featuring Amber's sister claiming that, quote, "I can't believe Amber beat your ass." Number 4. He said, she said in the current court cases. One thing is definitely clear. Both Amber Heard and Johnny Depp have harmed one another. Text messages surfaced that show Depp very clearly stated that he wanted to end Amber's life by burning her and doing awful things to her corpse. Meanwhile, we've seen tons of lies on Amber's part in her attempts to cover the own harm that she has done against Johnny, as she continues to claim to only be a victim rather than playing equal parts as the perpetrator in this extremely obviously toxic and insane relationship. Coming in at number 3, Johnny Depp's self-inflicted wound or not. In the 2016 Sun article Libel Trial, Johnny Depp claims that Amber had cut part of his finger off in Australia during a fight when he was there to film a Pirates of the Caribbean movie. It was later revealed in a voicemail to his doctor that Johnny had in fact cut his own finger off. The voicemail recording reads, and just so you know, a bunch of this will be bleeped by the way to keep it family friendly, quote, "Hi. Had another one. I cannot live like this. She is as full of as a Christmas goose. I'm done. No more. The constant insults, demeaning, belittling, most heartbreaking, that is only released from a malicious, evil, and vindictive. But you know what? Far more hurtful than her venomous and degrading, endless educational ranting is her hideously and purposeful, hurtful tirades and her shocking treatment of the man she is supposed to love above all. Her obsession with herself is far more important. She is so ambitious. She's so desperate for success and fame. That's probably why I was acquired. Although she has hammered me with that a sad old man has been I am. I'm so very sad. I cut the top of my middle finger off. What should I do? Except of course go to the hospital. I'm so embarrassed for jumping into anything with her. The world. Although it definitely was after a verbal altercation, Johnny has a history of drinking too much, and it is alleged that he drank way too much that night, had a fight with Amber, and it escalated to an insane degree, with Johnny harming himself after a major depressive bout. Coming in at number 2, Amber may have tried to get her friends to lie for her. In a report that was just posted only moments ago at the time of writing this, Amber Heard's good friend Eve Barlow was kicked out of court for a multitude of reasons. Eve was acting as part of Amber's legal team even though she has no expertise in the matter. It is alleged by the court that apparently she tried to intervene during testimonies from Johnny's witnesses, which is entirely not allowed in a bid to not let the truth come out. She was also very recently kicked out of the courtroom and told not to return because she was live tweeting the processes, which is strictly under lock and key, after she was caught on her phone during the proceedings. Quote, Amber had her closest journalist friends sit in the front row with her legal team at the trial, live tweeting, texting, and posting information. Even though the court has continually sided with Amber, that can't look great on her to so obviously be having someone leak information. Coming in at number 1, both Amber and Johnny have stated they never hit one another. Both are proved untrue. Now finally, the biggest one of all, and the root cause of all the legal proceedings going on. Whether or not you side with Amber over Johnny or vice versa, one thing is abundantly clear. No one person is the true victim here. While it was determined pretty early on that Johnny had hit Amber, even if it wasn't nearly as bad as she had alleged, it did happen. There is video evidence and voice recordings of aggression and harm against her. Similarly, however, Amber is the only one with a voice recording genuinely admitting to hitting Depp. In a phone call to Johnny, Amber stated, quote, I can't promise I won't get physical again. I get so mad I lose it. The hit in question was a slap. So when both parties choose to continue to deny any wrongdoing, does that mean that these legal battles will just continue to drag on forever as each person continues throwing accusations at one another with little regard for the truth?
First at number 10, lawyer objects own question. During the trial, the most memed people have been Amber Heard's lawyers, who seem incompetent most of the time. This point was basically confirmed in court the other day when one of Heard's lawyers objected to their own question. Attorney Adam Nadelhaft made a huge error while he was asking questions about a fight that left Johnny with a severed finger. While the lawyer was questioning Ben King, Depp's house manager, he said, quote, You didn't know what could cause damage to Mr. Depp's hand when you were there on March 8th, correct? The lawyer asked. King then answered the question by stating a doctor told him that Depp sustained an injury to one of his fingers. Then, in an attempt to stop King from continuing his testimony, the lawyer objected, saying, quote, objection, hearsay? For a moment, everyone was confused until the judge stated, quote, wait, you asked the question, next question. Awkward. In at number 9, Depp found poop in their bed. One of the strangest and most baffling things about this case is the fact that someone pooped in Johnny and Amber's bed, and most signs point to Amber. Apparently, after he and Heard had a fight, Depp decided to leave for the night and come back in the morning when he assumed she was not going to be there. However, before he made it back, his maid texted him that there was poop found on his side of the bed, with the maid even including a picture. Johnny then texted Amber about this poop, and she tried to blame it on their dog. dogs. Depp stated their dogs were way too small to produce something that large. Heard kept denying that she had anything to do with it, but Depp is convinced it either came from her or one of her friends. My money's on one of the friends. And at number 8, Johnny Depp painted with blood. A huge part of this case is the incident where Amber allegedly threw a bottle at Johnny and severed his finger. We also learned that after Johnny's finger was cut, he decided to paint using the bloody finger as the brush and paint. Depp alleged that during a fight in Australia in 2015, Heard threw 2 bottles at him, one of which exploded. He claimed it resulted in the tip of his middle finger being cut off. Depp also stated that after the finger was cut, he decided to write on the walls with his blood. Then after it dried, he continued to paint using traditional paint that he had dipped his finger in. Considering Depp did not immediately get treatment for his finger, it's a miracle that doctors were able to reattach most of it. And at number 7, crazy video of Depp shown. In one of the videos presented to the court by Amber, you can see Johnny getting very angry while in a fight. In part of the video, Depp yells, quote, "Wanna see crazy? I'll give you effing crazy." While fighting, Depp is seen pouring wine into a glass while yelling about getting crazy. After noticing that Amber is recording, he starts tussling with her. Then the video cuts out. When asked if Depp was getting violent in this clip, the lawyer said, quote, "And you would agree that you were violent in that clip, correct?" Depp then replied, "Clearly I was having a bad time," adding, quote, "I did a couple of cabinets, but I did not touch Miss Heard." Depp was then asked if he was intoxicated in the clip. He did not confirm, then later said it was possible. The lawyer then pressed that he most likely was, since he was pouring a glass of wine in the clip. And at number 6, Depp trashed hotel rooms. Another shocking revelation from the court documents was that Depp had gotten so angry in the past that he had trashed hotel rooms. Heard's lawyers asked Depp, quote, "You've trashed hotel rooms before simply because you've had a bad couple days and an unpleasant time." Depp then replied, quote, "Correct, I have a couch or 2, yes sir." Depp also agreed that he had expressed himself through destructive measures in the past. Heard's lawyers also pressed him about an earlier quote where he claimed that when men are angry, some will play golf while others will smash hotel rooms, with him clearly being the type that does the latter. Depp replied that he was only joking at this time, and he doesn't believe he's the only person that's broken something while they were frustrated. Halfway, number 5, met up after restraining order. After Amber Heard filed for divorce from Johnny Depp, she decided to also get a restraining order to protect herself from him, alleging that he was violent with her in the past. Depp testified in court that in 2016, after Heard filed for the restraining order, she asked to meet up with Depp and talk about things. Although he was confused, he wanted to hear what she had to say, with Depp saying, quote, "I was talked into going there and met with her in hopes that she would retract her lies that the world was now fed. In no way was she ready to do that, and I couldn't understand why I was there. Everything had been taken from me." Depp continued that he felt that she was leading him on and asked him there under false pretenses. And at number 4, Paul Bettany texts. One of the times that Johnny looked the worst was when his texts between him and Paul Bettany were read to the court. These texts showed Depp letting off steam after a fight with Heard, but saying some pretty horrific things. Heard's lawyer showed texts between WandaVision actor Bettany, including one in which the two joked about ending Heard's life. During his deposition, Depp confirmed that he and Bettany are good friends. Texts from 2013 show the actors joking about how they would kill Heard, claiming that the pair would burn her, then including some nasty comments about making sure she was dead by sleeping with her corpse. Bettany's reps have not responded to the texts, but he has previously expressed that it was embarrassing to have his texts made public when they were used in the UK libel case Depp brought against the Sun, which he lost. Bettany clarified that he, quote, "didn't know Johnny when he was married to Heard." And at number 3, Heard copying Depp's outfits. One strange thing that's been noticed during the trial is that Amber seems to copy Johnny's outfits in court. Dr. Shannon Curry took the witness stand and testified that she diagnosed Amber Heard with 2 personality disorders, one that could cause her to mimic her ex-husband Johnny Depp's wardrobe choices. Dr. Curry claimed that Amber's disorder may cause her to, quote, "take on the identity of the people they are spending time with because it's comforting." This testimony came at an interesting time because fans have been pointing out that Heard seems to copy whatever Depp wears in court. If Johnny wears a gray suit on Tuesday, Amber will show up with a similar gray suit the next day, a clear pattern that has been shown through the trial. Some fans on Twitter wrote, quote, "Amber Heard is playing mind games with Johnny Depp by copying his outfits in court." Another said, quote, "When Johnny wore a gray suit, the next day she wore the same thing. Then he wore a Gucci ensemble and the next day she wore it." In at number 2, Milani Cosmetics contradicts Amber. During her trial, Amber's lawyer stated that Amber would walk around with makeup constantly in case she ever needed to cover a bruise that Johnny had given her. In court, the lawyer held up Milani Cosmetics' all-in-one correcting kit while telling the jury how Heard concealed bruises on her face. Although it's important, the lawyer never claimed that Heard used that specific product. During her trial, her lawyer held up the makeup and said, quote, "This is what Amber carried in her purse for the entire relationship with Johnny Depp. She's an actor. Do you honestly think she would have left her apartment ever without makeup? Do you think she would ever have wanted other people to see her bruises and cuts? This is what she used. She became very adept to it. Milani clapped back in a TikTok video showing that the product held up in court was not released until 2017, 1 year after Heard filed for divorce. So there is no way Heard could have been covering bruises with that makeup. A source close to Heard told People, quote, Heard's lawyer was using an example of the kind of makeup that she used. And finally, number 1, Lily Rose skipped Depp's wedding. During the trial, it was exposed that Depp's daughter, Lily Rose, did not approve of his relationship with Amber. It was so tense that Lily Rose decided not to attend their wedding in February of 2015. In court, Johnny said, quote, My daughter, Lily Rose, did not come to the wedding. She and Miss Heard were not on particularly great terms for several reasons. Johnny Depp also claimed in court that Amber tried to drive a wedge between him and his kids. Johnny has 2 kids that he shares with ex-partner Vanessa Paradis, Lily Rose, and Jack. When talking about how possessive Amber was, Depp said, quote, Amber had to have me there at all times for her own needs. Also alleging that she would, quote, tell me what a bad father I was and that I had no idea how to parent. After the allegations came out, Lily Rose publicly defended her father.